What's up, Lymies? My name is Stephanie Spicer, and I'm a Limey too. I want to talk a bit today about protein, fat, carbohydrates, and how these food categories can affect those with Lyme disease. I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, so just keep that in mind. This isn't professional advice, just what I've learned through reading and personal experience. We hear a lot of talk today about low-carb, high-protein diets, especially with regard to losing weight. It's a pretty well-established fact that if you want to lose weight, cutting out carbs can help you do that. My problem as a Limey for many years, though, was that I was underweight. When I was living with and eating with my family's dietary needs and choices were different from mine. Though my family strove to eat healthy, and a low-carb diet can be a good choice for a lot of American families, it wasn't working for me. I was as skinny as a skeleton. When I moved away from home, for a while I continued eating the food I had been used to eating at home, until one day I realized I can eat whatever I want. And so I started eating pasta every day. I ate it every day for a year until I started getting tired of it, and by that time I was up to a healthy weight, and I've been able to maintain it since. People experiencing stress because of disease, herxing, emotional trauma, or even the common cold need more carbohydrates to function normally. So this video is not to tell you to avoid carbs. You may really need them. They can also just be very comforting. However, I do want to talk about one area where cutting carbs can be useful. Most people with Lyme disease have digestive problems, often due to taking antibiotics long-term or pulsing them repeatedly over the years. Though antibiotics can be very useful for fighting disease, one of their side effects is that they tend to kill off our good gut bacteria too, which can cause candida overgrowth and general problems with digesting food. I've mostly used a Rife machine rather than antibiotics for treatment, but this did happen to me once when I tried colloidal silver for a month. As I've shared in a previous video, it completely destroyed my digestive system. I could no longer go to the bathroom. I had terrible constipation. I tried for a good while to manage this problem by taking fiber pills, and they did help, but I realized that I had to just keep taking them all the time. They weren't actually solving the issue. At this point, my mind went back to my family's low-carb diet, and I decided to try it for a while. I cut all carbs, except for some very high-fiber ones, and ate only vegetables and protein. It took several months, but it did work to get my digestive system back into functioning order. I no longer have to take fiber pills, and I was able to slowly reintroduce carbohydrates back into my diet. And finally, I want to put in a word for fat. Fat has gotten a bad rap for many years as the thing that makes you fat, and although we now know that isn't true, it's still stuck in many people's minds. But healthy fats are very important for detox. Some fats can help to remove toxins from our bodies and build healthy tissue. Fat also stimulates bile production, which is important because otherwise the body has to recycle bile, which in Lymies may be contaminated by toxins. I think there's a lot to be said for just listening to your body and what it craves for. Of course, our cravings can be corrupted by years of eating unhealthy food, so we may need to reset our taste by doing a short-term cleansing diet. I talked a little bit about this in my video about sugar. But overall, I'm all for avoiding extremes, and though that's a good rule for everyone, it especially applies to those with chronic disease. Our bodies already have so much to deal with. We shouldn't constantly punish them with food that feels revolting or unsettling to us. Our bodies do have an innate subconscious ability to know what we need, and we should listen to that. This will obviously vary from person to person and from day to day. Rather than sticking to any one rigid diet, it's a good idea to choose what works for us from the collective wisdom and be guided by our own common sense. So that's it for today. Keep on fighting until it's over.